in Sri Lanka, and he has published multiple articles in many national and international journals. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today and taking out time from your busy schedule. I would also like to welcome the esteemed speakers of our today's conference session, Mr. Zeram M. Rizvi, Mr. Shafiqur Rahman, Mr. Zahid Asgar, Mr. Ghulam Nabi Nizamani, and our sign language interpreter, Ms. Halima Sadia. Thank you everyone for joining us. Uh, may I now start the session? The topic of the inaugural session right now, we are discussing about the empowerment of persons with disabilities and the government efforts. I would request Dr. Kalitha Mahipala, sir, to please start of the session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for kind words of introduction as well. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, all the distinguished guests, colleagues and friends, ladies and gentlemen. It's my singular privilege, great honor, and immense pleasure to join with you today in this important event. Disability is universal. World Health Organization recognized disability as a global public health issue, a human right issue, and a development priority. Over the past years, Sustainable Development Goals and the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities have created an imperative for inclusion of people with disabilities. The 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development provides a powerful framework to guide countries towards the achievement of disability inclusive development. As progress is made towards universal health coverage now, and globally there has been so much of focus on that, it is important to mainstream disability inclusion across its dimension, population, services, and direct cost of healthcare to ensure that no one is left behind. We are aware of the fact that the cost of exclusion are too high. Inclusive policies and programs and wide-ranging investments in society to ensure that all people with disability have an equal opportunity, inclusion, and economic growth. Ladies and gentlemen, as we look ahead, we need to strengthen development policies and practices to ensure that accessibility is part of inclusive and sustainable development. This requires improving our knowledge of the challenges facing all persons with disabilities. WHO, being the technical lead for the disabilities in the UN system, has been supporting the government in formulating disability legislation in the country, developing guidelines in local languages, promoting community-based rehabilitation, capacity building at the grassroots level, and improving disability data reliability in the country. Pakistan continued to be the flag bearer of assistive technology, and our efforts were crowned with success when the global and regional resolution tabled by Pakistan was adopted by the World Health Assembly. That was a very important milestone, I would say. Ladies and gentlemen, much remains to be accomplished before persons with disabilities can realize their full potential as equal and valued members of the society. We must eliminate the stereotypes and discrimination and build an accessible, enabling and inclusive environment for all. For the 2030 agenda to succeed, we must include them in implementation and monitoring and use the convention as a guide. Let us pool our all efforts together to ensure the effective mainstreaming of disability in the development agenda. That's very important. WHO remains committed to support the government to empower people with disabilities to enjoy their rights on an equal basis. Finally, let me wish a great discussion today. I'll stop here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for your kind words. And thank you for, again, I would like to thank you for taking out time and honoring us to host this event. Now, I would like to request Mr. Zeram M. Rizvi. He's the chairman, PM Housing Task Force. He is also the advisor of Ministry of Science and Technology. Zeram Saab, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, I can.
So please, you may continue.
I'm really honored and would like to first thank the comments and the guidance given by the WHO representative. Very, very valid points you have raised. But I think taking the lead from the points you have raised, I would like to start from one thing that you see in countries like ours. We have somewhere we can trace everything. Policies, yes, because copy paste. We when you talk to the people, yes, we have a policy. But what we really see is we don't see the execution and implementation of those policies on the ground. Because I'm for the last 35 years having been engaged in service of persons with disabilities, and people have really, when we talk to the authorities, they say, you have this, we have this. Even the present government, we have a very comprehensive policy for persons with disabilities. In yesterday's event, the president of Pakistan, Mr. Dr. Arif Alvi, he was there. I had the honor of having prepared the policy, and before the election, that policy was made, the PDI manifesto, part of it, and Dr. Arif Alvi had announced it. And yesterday I also requested that we need to have, because the president and the first lady are highly committed to the cause of persons with disabilities. They do say a few things, they do take few actions, but we do not have a mechanism to ensure that these things move from the drawing table to the on-ground realities. Yesterday I have asked them to maybe set up an authority for empowerment of persons with disabilities, so that we make sure, for example, employment quota and many other things, they are somewhere there in the policies, program, even in the promises, but we don't see those on-ground realities. And I have also asked them to prepare a website by the government maybe under the same authority, where the person with disabilities, different parts of the country could really see, I have an issue A, which department, which person I should go, and what government is facilitating. They really don't know. And this is what I keep on saying, that sometimes the person who get involved in the cause of person with disabilities, they use very fancy words for them. For example, differently able. But if you talk to the person with disabilities, they say, no, every person on earth is differently able. We are person with disabilities, and we acknowledge that. And this is what, sir, I would request that maybe WHO could also tell government of Pakistan that you should do whatever the UN definition is. They should be uniformly and universally using that, meaning person with disabilities, and not really challenge persons and all those kind of fancy words, which if you talk to a deaf person, there is no sign language for them to translate what is impairment, visually impaired. There's no sign language. Differently able, see, even today, there is no signage to say differently able. So, but I think they all know. So maybe if you could really help us out in ensuring that the government of Pakistan should use the UN proper definitions. That will be making at least one way. The deaf are saying that we are deaf. Yes, we are deaf, but we are not dumb. We are not incapable. That's why I have written 2 books on the success stories of the person with disabilities, the deaf and the blind. And now in this webinar, I'm sure Kodiak will show that our person with disabilities are very accomplished in terms of sports activities. For example, we had, I know Sri Lanka is one of the great fans of cricket, and we admire some of your cricketers. We have the blind cricket has won, if I am not wrong, twice the World Cup. Our deaf cricket has won one World Cup. The wheelchair, even 2 days before in Karachi, we had a stadium, a cricket match of the wheelchair cricketers. And then we have a Pakistani, Suleiman Arshad, who has really won the Commonwealth 3rd prize in para climbing. Why I'm saying that? Let the people know that these people are accomplished people. They need only empowerment. They don't need charity. They don't need sympathies. And empowerment is, what simple word we always say is, don't give them the fish, teach them how to catch the fish. There are different organizations running educational programs for them. I am on the board of Virtual University, which the President of Pakistan is the Chancellor of that. I have even asked the Virtual University to prepare the digital short courses for development of skills. So that, for example, Zahid Dargah Sahab is also very much engaged in giving some skills. And globally, there are programs on how do we really give the skills which are more pertinent and applicable to, let's say, deaf people, which are more applicable to the blind people and the wheelchair people. For example, deaf girls in Islamabad, I have seen, they have a group of artists. So beautiful paintings they do, but they do not find a platform where they could really show and demonstrate their paintings and get probably a good prize. So we are trying to develop a virtual platform. Maybe Kodiak will also help us out in that, so that those paintings are, so meaning that one skill, deaf girls are very good. Embroidery and all those. So I think here we could also get the benefit of international agencies, so that these organizations get linkage with the international organizations. I was in States and I had the honor of visiting the Gallaudet University, Washington. It is, as we all know, that more than 100 years old institution, the world's first institution, which have now been the largest institution to the level of a university for the deaf persons. 70% of the students there are deaf, what we call of the deaf. And 30% of the students there are what we call for the deaf, meaning sign language interpreters and all that. Even in Pakistan, we have not really formally acknowledged and recognized the profession of sign language interpreter. Why? Because there are no too many applications. 90% or 95% of the TV programs go without sign language interpreter. In the United States, in the Western world, it's the other way around. So the sign language interpreters get really good remuneration. So people really, the hearing people also like to go into that profession. That look here, this is a rewarding profession. And this is what the Gallaudet University is doing. Similarly, there are institutions like Disabled Rehabilitation Commission in Houston, Texas. They have a very good model. What they say is they teach different skills to the disabled person. Then they send those students to those trained person who have gone 3 to 6 months skill training in whatever profession they are in, meaning. And then they say to the employer, keep them for 3 months probation. And if after 3 months they really perform well, then you give them proper hiring and salary for the 3 months. If you say that they have not performed well, send them back to us. We will pay the 3 months salary, but we will give them another training based on your performance evaluation. I think these are the issues that we'll keep discussing. But for opening remarks, I thought that we should really create this. And just 2 more things I would like to say. In 2018, we had Pakistan's first national conference of persons with disabilities in Islamabad, Srinagar. More than 500 persons with disabilities, which I was really overly amazed that a girl was on wheelchair, came from the farthest area of the Gilgit-Baltistan. And you can imagine the determination of so we had more than 500. Now, COVID has done lots of bad things, but I think COVID has also done lots of good things for us to really how to ensure inclusion. And these virtual platforms today can facilitate all the persons with disabilities from all over the country. I hope they will be benefiting. So I think these virtual platforms would facilitate and ensure the inclusion. And this coupled with, as I'm saying, is the virtual education can really expand our outreach to all over the country. So I think we need to further promote all this. With this, over to you, Mr. Adi. Thank you very much.
we are co-hosting.
Thank you so much. I would like to acknowledge that Mr. Adib Ijaz, our co-founder, he is also my co-host today for this conference. Adib Saab have a question. So Adib Saab, please.
Yeah, I would thank you, Zagam Sab, for sharing such insight. Sir, I would like to put up a question to all the panelists that, as you know, that according to WHO, there are 32 million persons who are living with some form of disability in Pakistan. And the challenge, actually, the challenge of Pakistan is we have not comprehended that this is our challenge. Once we comprehend, then we can prepare ourselves to, go ahead with the solution. We do not have statistics. Once statistics are there, then the policies can be made. The integration of persons with disabilities can be made possible rather than just chanting this slogan. So what we have seen is that the people who are working for the betterment of lives of persons with disabilities in Pakistan are working in silos. So the PODIAC has established this platform to connect them together. And PODIAC is basically trying to be a right hand of the government and the policy makers to make this effort worthwhile. So I would like to now ask Zahid Saab.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum everybody and good morning, Dr. Khalida. Adib has raised a very valid question as to do we know and have we accepted as to how many differently abled persons we have in the country. Unfortunately not. The present government has taken this task, although it will take some time when the census comes in, but at least through the task program, yesterday the President revealed that the task has been given to Dr. Nishtar so as to identify as to how many differently abled persons we have in the country. And that will help us to map. Another challenge is to map as to what kind of disabilities we have in different parts of the country, so that then the government can put resources to address those and then empower them to become socially viable and self-reliant. Thank you.
And I would like to bring in your kind knowledge that he has worked a lot for the differently abled person, and he has worked to improve the quality of life of the differently abled person towards self-reliance and sufficiency through awareness, accessibility, inclusiveness, and capacity building of organization which are handling the differently abled person. And he is also associated with the government of Pakistan in multiple initiatives for the persons with disabilities. Thank you so much, sir, for enlightening us in this conference. Now, I would like to request Mr. Ghulam Nabi Nizamani Saab, and he's the chairperson of CBID Asia Pacific Network. He is also a disability rights activist, and he has an experience of around 23 years in community development and social mobilization, especially on disability. And he has worked and he has been working with the government and NGOs at national and international level. Thank you so much, Ghulam Nabi Nizamani Sahab, for joining us today. And now I would like to request you to please carry on the session.
I would like to put a question for Nizamani Saab. Nizamani Saab, thank you very much for joining us. being from the vocal activist of the country and from Sindh, how do you see that the government should play this role to, go fast towards, tapping this challenge to provide solution that could, help in integrating the person with disabilities into mainstream?
Thank you very much, Nadeem Saab.
Zamani
And,
Saab, बताइए.
you can listen me?
Gigi, you are audible.
Okay. If my voice is coming, thank you very much. Actually, when we talk about different terminologies and different words, then things confused. As yesterday, President of Pakistan said that I have heard many terminologies, but I will follow one that is written in UN conventions. When UN convention was in draft process at that time, all representatives from different countries, they participated, and it was unanimously decided that we will call person with disabilities means people first language for person with disabilities. When we hear different type of terminologies, still today, when you have CRPD in our hands, it is very confusing for other people too. And especially for those people who are part of the UNCRPD process, they feel very strange that why still today we say that other terminologies when one is unified and one is unanimously approved in UN agencies. And if we will say still today, people with special abilities, people with different abilities, people such and such, people such and such, it means everybody has different abilities and every person has special abilities. This doesn't mean that you can separate in this way. So I will request everybody, and in future people, those who will come in this conference, please use the word persons with disabilities, which is unifiedly approved in UNCRPD and from different countries. Second point is when we talk about the integration of person with disabilities and mainstreaming, actually this is a process. This process starts from the integration of person with disabilities and then inclusion of person with disabilities, then empowerment of person with disabilities, and final stage is mainstreaming person with disabilities. So these four stages are totally different from each other and we cannot mingle or mix together because this is a process. And Shukr Alhamdulillah, some people has started process of integrating person with disabilities, but still inclusion of person with disabilities and empowerment of person with disabilities and mainstreaming of person with disabilities, it is far, far away. And from this conference, I want to give this message. When in different processes we talk about person with disabilities, we must listen from them. What are their voices? What they want to say? What they feel? Otherwise, it will be for the people who are working for person with disabilities, and it might be not acceptable for the community of person with disabilities. Like yesterday in our conference, which we are saying that we are going to mainstream person with disabilities, but in the group photo, when there was president, I didn't saw a single person with a disability among them. So it means they still need to be included, they still need to be mainstreamed, they still need to be empowered. When it comes to the governments, after 18th amendment, the main subject which is being confused, that are person with disabilities. Because before this 18th amendment, person with disabilities were not part of the any ministry, were not separate ministry. but they were part of the Social Welfare Ministry and the DGSE, Division of Special Education. And when it devolved in the different provinces, some people say this is job of DG Special Education Department, and some said it is job of Social Welfare Department. And still, there is conflict between these two departments, who is custodian of person with disabilities. But in Sindh, we have a different practice. In Sindh, we have a separate department that is called Department of Person with Disabilities. So it is totally separate. And now the people who are working in this department, they have only focus on the person with disabilities, but this is not happening in other provinces, number one. And number two, person with disabilities need social protection, insurance, and other facilities, but many things are still with federal government, like PIA, like railway, like FBR, and different things. So when we are making very good legislation at provincial level, but cannot be implemented at federal level, and the federal legislation cannot be as it is implemented at the provincial level. So we, through this, yes.
We are running
So,
actually out of time. We request you to please conclude your
yes, I am going to
your address.
conclusion already. So there should be a mechanism between the federal government and the provincial governments. How can they together facilitate person with disabilities? It's supposed to be when we talking about the cars, the duty import card process is very difficult, and many persons with disabilities cannot avail this facility. So we should have a system, a mechanism that there should be tax-free cars locally assembled in Pakistan, like India, and people with disabilities can purchase those. So this can be done at the federal level, not at the provincial level. So in this way, I request here on this platform, there should be a synergy, a mechanism between the federal government and between the provincial governments. As Zegam Saab said, there should be a authority at the federal level. Yesterday he was saying. So I will not say authority, but I will say a mechanism. There should be a mechanism at federal level where all provinces come and sit together and discuss how can these benefits go unifiedly at the national level and provincial level to person with disabilities. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Dr. Palitha would like to add.
Adib Sahab, I would like to add one quick.
Dr. Palitha is asking to,
Right,
speak.
yeah.
Yeah, please. We will.
Thank you so much. A few points. I think definition is very much cleared by our colleague from Balochistan. We should use, as in UN Convention, it's persons with disabilities. That's the nomenclature. So we should go by the same thing rather than using different terminology. That's one. And number two, the data, the percentage of disabled people in the country. Now, WHO globally published that it is something around 50%, taking into account the NCDs on the increase, and then, of course, accidents and so many other things which really make people disabled, visually handicapped, and then hearing, so many other things. So diabetic is rampant. So taking all that and doing many surveys and data and evidence getting from different countries is something around 15%. That's what the WHO figure. And there are some localized surveys done in Pakistan by WHO, again, which is much aligned with 15%. So I think we can go roughly as a figure of 15%, but WHO is now planning to have a more comprehensive survey across the country that might give more inputs about this. Last point, empowerment. That's a very valid point raised. I think we should not have approaches, through sympathies and charity-based. We should empower the people, and we need to, mainstream them. So we need to have policies, programs, all that to empower people, persons with disabilities. That should be our approach, not a charity-based approach. So those are the few points I would like to say. And we had a presentation by WHO to His Excellency the President a few weeks back on the whole issue, and Honorable President is taking so much of steps, and the commitment at the highest level is there in the country. So I think we can take it forward. Stars are aligning together, and it is the high time that we should work together as one team, and WHO remains committed to work and collaborate with the organization to take this agenda forward. I stop here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Pulita, for your valuable input. Zagam Saab, with your permission, can we add Shafiq Saab first in discussion, because he has raised hand as well.
Thank you very much.
Shafiq Saab, your mic is muted.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I wanted to be very comprehensive, very to the point. I spent 27 years in, different development sectors, activities, especially in disability field. And I found three very, very important things. Number one, that the concept which was transferred from developed country to underdeveloped country was totally wrong, right? Actually, that they define person with disability in 4 categories or 2 categories or 6 categories, and furthermore more categories, human categories of living, which was totally wrong. The second thing I found, that in universities and in special education centers, all practices are not necessary. This is my second founding. And number third, what I found in my life, what I understand, I love to share with you. Maybe my words hurt someone, but please listen me. I need your attentions. Actually, there was only two issues which we are facing. One is mobility, and second is communication. There is no third issue human are facing which society declared as disabled people. It's not a problem of deaf people of communication. It's our problem. We are not understanding their language. This is a society problem. But we blame that, they cannot speak. But what they are communicating, we cannot understand. So it was the society problem, right? There was no need to push them to, study the lips reading. It was important for us to understand the sign language. It was so important, but we did mistake. Actually, we did mistake. We spent a lot of huge money to develop the infrastructure to provide a special education, like in Islamabad. If you see the infrastructure building cost, it's 700 billion rupees we spend only the infrastructure in Islamabad to teach the 4,000 students who their society declared as a person with disability. But what was their problem? There was only two problems. One, they don't have mobility, so they cannot go near as a school. The second, they cannot communicate with the general public, because general public is so illiterate, they cannot understand the sign language. So it was the illiteracy of society. It's a illiteracy of the system, which is not dealing with human who need the mobility. Everyone is a wheelchair user. You are using cars and truck and buses. They are wheelchairs, actually. You have choice, you can walk, but still you are using wheel. We don't have choices to walk with the legs. So wheelchairs are not your luxury for us. It's a human right for us. Mobility devices are human rights for us. Communication, software, patterns, language are the human rights for us. There are only two things to be invest. If our country, society will invest on real investing on the devices, as WHO already have the standards of the assistive technology. Why don't we spend money to provide the real mobility to people and then leave them? Don't provide them the special attentions or the special training program. If they have the skills, they can rise. What made us disabled is lack of mobility. Just provide us and then bye-bye. No need of your attentions, no need of your CBR program, no need of any special program, no need of any kind of making the separate infrastructure, no need to spend wrong money. I mean, it's a wrong investment to making the infrastructure to make us independent. Oh, human cages, golden cages cannot make free human. This is a problem which are not understood by the society and the system. Just once, give mobility to all paralyzed people, right? Just once, give the communication skills to the society, how to communicate. Why not we are, learning sign language? Every child must have the skills to communicate in sign language. Sign language must be the national language. What is the why we are not adopting? 2.3% population cannot communicate because we don't know how to speak in sign. So this is the problem of society, and we are blaming, oh, they cannot speak. Oh, so this is the, a big disaster we are facing. Policymakers don't know what is our need, which is very clear, very, very much clear, crystal clear. And they are spending money and justifying the double salary of special education teachers. So they are doing a great job. Oh, we don't need this kind of great job. We only need mobility. We only need communication. That's it. There is no third demand, which is not understood by the society. And what I am talking, maybe it's too much direct, but I'm okay for it. And I know that the developed country, which we follow since 25 years, I was a part of the, the formulation of UN Convention. I was a member of the formulation committee in UN. I was a part of the policy, national policy of Pakistan, 2005, and national plan of action as well. I know this all process. I go through this all process. I'm the founder member of CBID network. But why I am sharing these references? To please understand, this is very, 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 very crystal clear that the issue was not what we are spending time. It was not the issue. Presently, we just need mobility devices and communication. That's it for blind people, which people said blind. Oh, I mean, there are a lot of, for example, I'm talking right now. If I just switch off my video, still you are listening me. So what is difference between the communication? There's no difference. No difference. Actually, the challenge is the communication, not watching. Watching is a not. I mean, there is no need. We are using eyes to communicate, to understand, communicate with society. So there are a lot of software, lot of devices. Why not investing on these practical things? Instead of investing on the devices, we are spending money for no means, to making the training centers. So what, for what? Why I have to do trainings if I'm not walking with my legs? Why do I have to do some training? I want to choose my life from my way, from my inner. Why someone is, calculating my lifestyle? Why someone is who don't know how to live with wheelchair? Why he's deciding that I must need some skills? These are all stupid stuff we came through. And I wish that our generation, next generation, must be very much open and say shut up to the policy makers who are not listening the real problem. The real issue is not the training programs. If you are providing training program to all population, okay, we must be included. No need to start any special training program on the base of my body shape. So this is the only, challenge we are facing.
Shafiq
And-
Sahab,
Sir,
You
thank
have
you very
added-
much.
so you have added very valid whys, a number of whys. So let us take those whys to first Zagam Sahab. Zagam Sahab,
Thank you very
Nizamani
much.
Sahab, and
Thank you.
Shafiq Sahab have given their input and their feedback and their questions. We would like you to please answer, please add your opinion, share your wisdom in 2 minutes. Then we will ask Zahid Asghar Sahab, and then we will be requesting Dr. Palitha to give his concluding remarks. Zagam Sahab, please.
Thank you, Armaji. I think the points which have been raised by Mr. Ghulam Nabi Nizamani, I think 4 points. One, only what we need to really add. Fifth one is what we call the statistics, the data. I think they are the issues, 5 issues. On statistics, I would like to say that while WHO is rightly saying 15% of the population, meaning about 30% person with disabilities in different categories, they are not all they are different categories as per the UN classification. So, but in our country, the problem is that in the 1998 census, there was only one question on disability. Do you have a person with disability? उसमें उर्दू में लिखा होता था क्या आपके घर में कोई माजूर है? अब ये majority of the population उतनी उर्दू भी अच्छी नहीं जानती कि वो माजूर को मतलब समझ सके. So most of the people saw the data showed us even less than 2%. The last census we had is first the question on disability was even totally eliminated. There was no question on census. Then under the pressure again, one question was added. So while globally, our friend from WHO would know that there are 8 to 10 questions on disability when they carry out the census. And that shows us which disability, what level of disability and all that. I think census is very, very important. And second thing I would like to say is that what Nizamani Sahab has said, that we need to really facilitate these people, like there are cars which could be imported duty-free. Now, when you talk to the higher-ups, they say it may be abused. But why don't you have the proper identifications, ID card, which says certified, this is the person category A, which category of disability, it cannot be abused. बाकी तो सब चीजों में यूज अब्यूज चलता है. When we talk of person with disability, तो ये abuse का लफ्ज पहले आ जाता है. So I think this is another thing. Important thing is what we are doing today at Podic seminar as well. Social integration. We have to realize that even getting the deaf person married or a blind person married is a challenge for the parents. Why? Because they are not living in one community. One person is in one place, the second person in another. So where's the boy, where's the girl? Only parents can meet. So in Islamabad, I have been facilitating those kind of things where the parents of the person with disabilities and the parents would be there in one large gathering I used to organize, where the boy would say, I would like to marry that girl. Well, I mean, that's what the marriage making is all about. And we have to really understand that my experience suggests that a deaf would prefer marrying a deaf. So parents, because of the not full awareness of the issues, माँ बाप कहते हैं अच्छा इसकी शादी को बोलने वाली लड़की या लड़के से कर दो. No, ask them what they prefer. But you have to facilitate those deaf parents, and they would be really doing a lot of other points. I think they apart from social integration, we need to have these kind of platforms, and I would on Podic that we facilitate an authority or an institution and website. If Podic would really take this mission on and provide this platform on a more regular, permanent basis.
Thank you.
And I think last but not the least is the empowerment. Empowerment में जो मसला आता है ना जी, वो ये है कि जो मैं कहा करता हूँ अखवत. I had worked a program of microfinance loans through the Akhwat platform, and Dr. Amjad Saqib had agreed, and we ran that program. Believe me, all those microfinance loans given to the deaf persons, nothing has defaulted. We had a very good mechanism, and it's amounts the girls and the boys have taken. We need to really enhance and enlarge this platform of providing the microfinance loans to the person with disabilities so that they could really do business. And we have a very successful concept paper which had been practically done on the ground with the Hoover. So if they develop such a platform, I think we would be moving rather than giving them a fish, teaching them how to catch the fish. And this is what the empowerment is, an empowerment with a grace. They would like to कहते हैं हम माजूर हैं मजबूर नहीं, हमारा इज्जत के साथ हमें charity नहीं, we need empowerment. Empowerment, the very word empowerment means they want to do away with any concept of charity. Thank you very much. Over to you.
Thank you, Zagham Saab, for your valuable input. Zahid Asghar Saab, if you could please respond in the 1 or 1.5 minute, please. Thank you very much, because the time of Dr. Palita is very important and we need to conclude the session.
Yes, I would like to make two observations here. One is that when we are talking about different terminologies being used, especially when we talk of disability, it is by Supreme Court of Pakistan that in its decision said that disability word should not be used and some other appropriate word should be used. That is why in our communication we are using the word differently abled persons. So that is one. I wish when the people here or otherwise, when they are objecting that we should stick to WHO classifications or definitions, we should have advocated that in the Supreme Court also. One. And number two, one of my friend has observed, has given his observation that yesterday, while the photographs were being taken, the differently abled persons were not included. I have requested Podier that they should put those photographs wherein Mrs. Alvi and Doksab and myself and others, they were all engaged in photographs with people with different disabilities or with, I call them differently abled persons. So that is what I wanted to say. Plus just one more thing, that is about empowerment. So we have not really given much time to empowerment, and empowerment for different disabilities would mean different. For example, Shafiq Saab said mobility. Yes, important. Who needs mobility? For example, a person on chair, he needs a motorized chair or a motorized tricycle or a motorized car. Then what is needed by a person who can't see? Maybe something, the assisted devices. And those who got these, then in order to earn their livelihood, maybe they also need to be included in the programs wherein they are empowered, they are trained, they are given education, so that then they have those competence wherein they get jobs or they do their own businesses based on those competencies. So maybe we look forward towards WHO if they can help us understand as to different disabilities, what kind of courses do you recommend based on your observation in other countries, so that then we make it uniform in our country also, taking lead from that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Zahid Saab. And may we request Dr. Palita to please give his concluding remarks to this session.
Thank you so much. I think we have witnessed extremely important and great discussion today. There were many panelists who have raised important issues and share their experiences and wisdom. Many important issues highlighted by others as well. So what I understood is that we need to identify the needs of the persons with disabilities much more. I think we need to have a bottom-up approach. We need to have basically a better engagement with them, and we need to understand what they really need. So that's how we can address this issue. And now technology is so much developed and assistive technology products are available. And that's where we need to really focus, and that will empower the people with difficulties to overcome it. I think this is a long journey. We have started the journey here in Pakistan, but it's a long way to go. So we need to have all the people, all the societies and other institutions, the government, all get together, collaborate together to make a difference in the country. So I'm sure that discussions will highlight and open the door for such important activities to be undertaken, and WHO is very much committed to support and collaborate, and we are there anytime to support this kind of activities. And I'll stop here, and it's really a very useful discussion for us as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Palita. And from our other side, I would again like to thank all the participants, especially Dr. Palita, Zagham Mahmood Rizvi Sahab, Zahid Asghar Sahab, Ghulam Nabi Nizamani Sahab, and Shafiqur Rahman Sahab. PODIAC has at least initiated this discussion and networking in an environment where stakeholders from all over Pakistan are participating and not only putting their advocacy efforts from their virtual booth, but also engaging the audience with webinars, conference sessions, and there are startups who are working for disability solutions that are being brought into limelight for the government, for the corporate sector, for all the stakeholders. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much.
Hello. Yeah, Adib sir, next session will be starting 1.
Okay, sir. Should I? Yeah.
Thank you very much once again. And now I would like to have a photo. Let's take a screenshot, and please all the speakers, आप अपनी videos अगर on कर लें, please turn on your videos so that we can have a screenshot of the session, all the speakers, all the participants.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Please
much.
अपनी videos on कर लें तमाम participants. I would request to all the participants to please switch on the video so that we can take a group photo of the session. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. Say cheese. Thank you everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank
And
you so much.
inshallah we'll be continuing the other sessions after the namaz break. Thank you very much, and signing off from PODIAC conference session 1. Allah Hafiz.